The other day I was talking to one of my potential clients, and here is what he asked me. So man, I understand all these things, but tell me, I have heard that the vacancy in commercial properties is quite high. If the property becomes vacant, then what should I do? And this is how I actually explain to this. So if you want to know, then stick around. Commercial property vacancy. Now, first of all, as you need to understand, I am Soumen Mondal. I am actually commercial buyer agent. So I also do a lot of portfolio strategies, and I help people to become financially independent. That being said, so as my potential client, I was talking to them. Here is what I said. First of all, let's understand one thing, that we as a company always buy tenanted property. So for our clients, we always buy tenanted property. We don't buy vacant properties unless that particular client specifically asks for vacant properties because they want to do the business there. So if you are an investor and if you're buying a tenanted property, first of all, what's your goal? Your goal is to become financial independent. To become financial independent, you have a, let's say, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years line, right? Down the line. You're not going to be financial independent today. It's not a get rich quick scheme kind of things. So what I told him that, look, if you invest today and if you're buying a tenanted property, which is let's say 6-7% return, and you are taking let's say 70% loan from the bank and 30% is your own money. So it is a positive cash flow, right? For commercial, it is a positive cash flow. Versus if you buy a residential property, that's a negative cash flow. Same type of property, like the same value property, this is going to be negative, this is going to be positive. Why? Because this is plus outgoing, this is minus outgoing. Again, that means that this residential property, as a landowner or as an owner, landlord, you need to pay all these expenses like a rates, land tax, insurance and everything, and this generally gets paid by the tenant in a commercial property. Okay, that part you understood right now. So if you have a chance of buying one residential versus if you have a chance of buying one commercial and with the same price point, and let's say if you buy commercial and your friend buys residential, now what happens is that from day one, your friend needs to pay more after buying to feed that property, to basically, because it's a negative cash flow, so you need to keep paying on that property. Whereas you will get the money, you will get the cash flow because it is a positive cash flow. Now, both of you are not retiring tomorrow, right? So what you need to do is that you need to, that extra cash flow that it is coming, you need to keep it in your offset or some kind of other way of saving that money. Now, what you are doing is that you are de-risking yourself by putting that money aside. That means 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the line, if the property comes to vacant and that property remains vacant probably 3 months, 6 months time, that 3 to 6 months, you need to pay your mortgage from that cash flow. Now, in general, 90% cases, you'll see that if you are smart enough and if you do some sort of strategies, you'll be able to see that if the tenant moves out, they gives you a notice about 3 to 6 months. And if you advertise well and beforehand, then they move out, another one will come in within a month or so. The worst case I'm talking about is 3 months or 6 months. And if those 3 to 6 months, if you are having this, if you kept those cash flow nicely, because you have not used those money because you don't need that, you are already having that income, then you are de-risking yourself, the vacancy. Where the problem that happens is that if you buy negative cash flow property and if you are continuously losing money, and on top of that, after 2 years, 3 years, if you lose the tenant, and that's how you struggle. Now, when you see this simple strategy of keeping the money aside, the cash flow aside, and then after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, then when it happens, guess what? After 6 months of vacancy, when it is become tenanted, this is going to be tenanted for another, let's say 3, 5, 7, 10 years. And those time, again, you will keep on doing the same thing and have a respectable buffer. And here is my way of saying that if 10% of your property value must be in your offset account, 10% of your property value. So if your portfolio is, let's say, $10 million, so ideally $1 million you need to, because that's how you de-risk yourself. Whereas if you are continuously like there is no cash flow, like zero kind of buffer, and in the event something happens, then that's how you will struggle. So in a nutshell, vacancy management is nothing but that risk management, and the risk management is that having a good amount of cash buffer and how you can do this I just actually demonstrated to you. So this is just I wanted to talk about that vacancy in commercial is nothing, because once you have done that, then you know that, oh, you know what, in the event vacancy happens, I am all covered, I can move on, I do not have to think, there is no stress on that. That's how you buy commercial, and that's how you keep the buffer, that's how you manage the vacancy. I hope you find these videos helpful. If you like this, consider subscribing this channel, turn the notification bell on so you get to see more videos like this, and it will also help us to reach out to more people like you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.